happy full moon. I am basking in the sun. Slightly different, I guess, positioning, whatever. Ooh, and I have to get headphones so you can actually hear me. Whoa, here we go. Hey, hi, how are you? Happy full moon. Seems like everybody's going through it, so I'm sending you lots of love, wishing you well. I'm sending you lots of calm, lots of peace. May your own mind be your place of peace. As uh, silly as that may sound, or as far off as that may seem, we're gonna need it. Everything's just moving so fast, and I feel like we all got sucker punched in some way or another over the last week, whether that be with holidays or with the heat wave or with how that heat wave makes that mind wave. Um, but so funny. I love these moons where the public says one thing and I get to find another. Um, because I heard a lot of like full moon in Capricorn, and so I didn't want to listen to anything until I like looked for myself. And the full moon will be tonight. Last I read was peak at 9 p.m. And for the remainder of Friday, the moon seems to actually be in the final cusp, like last tidbit of Sagittarius, but will officially move into Capricorn Saturday. Excuse me. Will officially move into Capricorn Saturday, like mid Cap, which very much is its own unique personality. I feel like cherish the last bits of Sagittarius because it's how you will uh, solidify the character of this Capricorn. I feel like it's almost like a second, like you know, has any maybe nobody said this to you, but if you were given the chance to redo, your formative younger years with the knowledge that you have today, and how that would go, I feel like it's kind of that. And mid Capricorn will be very much like 14 again, and we're given the opportunity to sort of like really remember what it is we want to be able to travel with. Um, that being said, a 14-year-old Capricorn is very much like the bratty kid who's just going through something, for sure. Uh, Teenagers can be terrible, but they're not terrible for no reason. They're going through something. Looking back, if I had known what I know now, I think I would be able to understand a lot more about why my mood was the way that it was, or when it would shift and what have you. Um, and what would it be like being able to go back through those triggers with the tools that you have now. Hold on to that very much so. I think for some people, they might, give something a second chance, thinking it'll be different, but the only thing that's different this time around is you. So please remember that and do not fall ill to holding on to the hope that you're wrong or that somebody will prove you wrong the second time around, because that's not really how that works. Unfortunately, people will often prove you right. I guess that's the cynic in me. And I will get to redo that cycle um, with a different mentality. Um, Sagittarius is more of a pleading, or more of a wonder, not necessarily pleading, more of a wanderer, more so than pleading with reality, the way that I think Capricorn really is. And that may be a hot take because I don't think anybody in the Western sphere of astrology would really describe Capricorn as pleading with reality, but I think from an outside perspective, um, that's kind of what it's become. And Pluto being in retrograde and sort of pleading to maintain those spaces, or that space, pleading to maintain that pattern. In the same way, the world often is stubborn to change. So, in the midst of all of this, let's see, what else was there that I noticed? Venus and Mercury are like collaborating on top of each other. Um, Ceres also influences this a lot. So there's a lot of feminine energy that is also uh, they're exuding themselves in different ways. I think a very indigenous way of looking at gender in general, is the what they offer the community, and not necessarily in gender roles, but in the ways that you allow for creativity, or the ways that you engage in responsibility, to some aspect of what allows your community to thrive and communicate. And I think that being more of a, oh, I really hope that hasn't been okay. Um Oh, and so Venus and Mercury are sort of like on top of each other, and Sirius is very much influencing this moon. Last I looked. And Sirius very much being this warrior, while Venus is sort of I think trying to understand the way that it wants to move, or the way that it needs to move in order to be heard. And I say that because if you think about splitting this the splitting of your masculine and feminine energy inherently, um, I have a feeling, I have a hunch, that the masculine is actually uh, giving a little tenderness, because it wants to be able to experience and not feel trapped in a lot of ways. And we're very much trapped in this hard shell as men in the world. Um, but also the feminine experience, or this feminine energy, I think is very much sort of shrieking and like in distress, and in pain, and wants to be listened to, but nobody's listening to. I did a meditation to try to see this actually, and she was like screaming, and even my initial reaction was kind of to just like talk at first, like I greeted myself and almost talked over her and like had to stop. Um, and in reality, she was just kind of like this worn, almost widow, like crying and screaming and like just wanting to be heard. And I think that's where a lot of this rage comes from. Um, whilst this heat waves, I think a lot of the irritation and frustration and rage is in our own ability to cool down physically and in our bodies, yes, but emotionally, and be able to temper the hot coals of the experiences that we've walked through. And feeling unheard or unseen is its own world of madness. And so I think that very much, somebody said this to me recently too, that we're just feeling how angry the earth is. And this is its way of letting us know. Um, and in a lot of ways, we are the child, curiously touching the stove, and some of us are, not some of us, but like some of the world, and these billionaires, and people mining, and people committing genocide and what have you, are more like the ones burning ants. And uh and I, and I think maybe some sociopathic, or like tendencies with like fascination with fire, fascination with pain, maybe not realizing it is that, but it boiled down to a sense, they're like Sid in Toy Story, and we're trying to figure the fuck out. So with all of that and all of those illusions, I hope that all makes sense. I hope that brings some sense and like relief to what's going on, and that you remind yourself that you are not alone. Um, as solitary as I am, as lone wolf, forever and ever, also sibling to the world, because I'm still here and still experiencing, and because it is perceivable, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, it's just not always my go-to. To be perceived or want to. Oh, you can see the bottom. Ooh, giving away. Okay, I'll try and stop that. Okay, so we're gonna pull cards because it's a happy full moon. This headphone's gonna fall out. Woo! I don't know why I won't stay. I don't know why. So we're gonna pull some cards and see how we feel about all of this and how we can continue to move through it. We'll fold both. We'll breathe on both, and then I'll just pull. Because I appreciate you for spending some time with me, and I really enjoy doing this. Uh, but I'm figuring out how to do it for the world or do it for everybody. These headphones are driving me crazy. My ears just do not fit normal stuff because they are much bigger. I'm just gonna let them go. Also, hey buddy, what's up? I hope you're jamming. And feeling all right. Yeah. Okay. So it's okay. We'll rock that. Much like we are hanging out. I swear the AC's on. I just look sweaty. Much like we are hanging out and we have these cards in between us, like so. Breathe with me. Make your body available to whatever sensations or thoughts may arise. If we were in person, like we are, I would have you put your hands over the cards. So when you inhale, uh, hold on to that energy. When you exhale, imagine a shadow card kind of rising into your hands, so that it may come forth to you. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, your shadow card rising. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, your shadow card rising. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, shadow card of the world. Interesting. Uh, we're beyond time and space. We're very much in between possibilities of dimensions in what could conspire. It's like it was just like floating in a vast sea, and while very comforting, I was recognizing the information of input in my hands, and that being different angles, like refracting light at different angles, which is often inversions of reality. inversions of simulations, which is really funny because I've actually totally noticed that. Um, the old liberals are now the fascists, and I don't know, Republicans were always that, but now they're kind of like whiny bottoms. Um, the bottom energy from masculinity, the banshee energy from femininity, the this sort of like deep throating, the fucking bootlicking mentality of like religious bigotry, um, the way that's even transcended into occult community or magic community, just very caught in the social experiment that religion was meant to be. So success on their part, I guess. Maybe it was well before the CIA. Let's see. Okay. This is driving me nuts. Three of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, the Sun, as the central point. Um, what do we create with our own light? How does that refract, or how does that illuminate the world, and our consciousness? Uh, your perceivable reality is very much a version of truth. Um, and a version of your truth. I think the way people define God is perhaps the truth that is consistent throughout, rather than one truth, which is, I think, a very definitive thing. Even when I talk about what the idea means, it's really never that this is it, this is the one way of interpreting it. It is, however, that, like picking apart all of the other interpretations, but it is, however, that it is understanding an innermost truth, and how that again like weaves throughout, because that makes it a pillar both consistent upwards and downwards. um this is the truth of what we have been told is God. And we've been told God is only the one direction, or only the the one possible refraction, rather than many rays of sunlight, and utmost an internal beam, however inverted, so down. I've always enjoyed picking apart what people think demons or black magic is, only to have spent my life sifting through books, only to find in adulthood that it was actually probably the first light, and the first truth. Um, and there's a reason that it has been occulted. Um, da, 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 and that maybe the only thing that is Christ-like or good, as it is biblically supposed to be defined, is what we think is evil. Um, or in exploring that idea and being able to face that idea. It's not that like what you thought was bad is actually good for you. That's too banal and simplistic of an inversion. Um, and nothing necessarily works out that cleanly. But you get my point. Ace of Cups and King of Wands here. The King of Wands is highly inspirational. We have a lot of information to build with. It's very much about building an entryway to your own reality, building an entryway to your own refuge or safe place, whether that, is cultivating dreams of building your dream home or your ideal community or whatever it is. You are building your pyramid in a way. This is perhaps maybe a time of all of our grand works, where we are kind of seeing uh, as many things come full circle what we offer to it. and how we will feed that momentum, because everything uh, is within and out of that space. So, I guess pick one, go with it, and it'll continue to consolidate. Um, the, this like center color of him, this confidence color, this adornment, um, is also very much like giving me like entering the circus vibes. Like, once you enter the tent, it's kind of like you're in a whole new world, and it's kind of unbelievable how much space there is, uh and all of these sort of, imaginative creative things that I think we can apply to our own reality. This is also why I think that any meditation opens up or closes with water sounds, because it is very much a way to open up to our cellular world, and program. This is also why I think the gateway experience offers itself to certain doorways or enterings of, or droppings in and out. Um, or one of my absolute favorite books by Erin Morgenstern, not the Starless Sea, where there's a consistent idea of painting doorways to another world. It's very much like a sci-fi fantasy trope, I suppose. And so play with that idea. You're not the only one that's considered it, so I don't think anybody would think you were crazy if you painted a door on a wall outside. Uh, what would it look like? What would it have to look like to make you not be able to pass it by? How gilded, how beautiful, how mysterious, how broken down, whatever it is, would it have to be? Would that door have to be so that you couldn't possibly see that and continue walking on your mundane path? So that you were filled with nothing but curiosity to walk through that door. That is the kind of attitude that you should have about moving forward into the future, moving forward into any projects, ideas, or just really giving into yourself for this summer specifically, but also in general, and in perpetuity for life, in a way that you can continue to blossom through, ultimately. Da, 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 because that's also the sun, renewable resource, and a garden of Eden, really. Um, so these are experiences that will come in handy time and time again. A continuous offering, and a gift, and something that is not just an offering to you, hence the inversion, but something that you will later be able to continue offering with the whole world, at any given time, because you just are. This is actually a lot how I define, or what I think loving looks like, right? In a very real way. Um, I think that this world is not programmed to love well. On this game, whatever we're in, uh, there's a reprogramming on top of what love can be, right? And let's see, I have the best way to explain this actually. Give me a second. I think that love is, in fact, a renewable resource in you, right? It's something that's always here, and is always, because it is here, always something that others can see, right? Sorry, I shouldn't blind you with this. Um, Not always something that others can see, but always something that others can walk into the path of, right? Like, I am love. I've cultivated love. It's a renewable resource in me. Um, I acknowledge the many rays that I am. Um, and so that is persistent. This beam is always on, as long as that is something that I'm aware of. And it's not that it goes off when you're not aware of it. It's that you're blind to it. That's all. Um, it's that you do not see. And so, with that being said, you walk around in the world constantly this way, and sometimes people pa 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 pa, and they step into that light, right? Um, Sometimes people don't believe in it. Sometimes people don't believe that they're worthy of it. Sometimes don't people don't believe that they're capable of it. They don't see their own light for themselves, right? So they can't actually believe in this. And so they walk out of it. That doesn't mean that this goes away. That does mean this persists. However, this experience, this loving experience, or what I thought was love, or whatever it is, does not stay there for some reason or another. And they can always choose to believe in love, come back to it, whatever, whatever. Um, Not necessarily choose to be available, but choose to acknowledge it. And I think that's maybe one of the pitfalls that people often fall to within breakups is that that light goes out. That that light cannot shine on anybody else because it is out. Um, Gosh, that was really hot. Um, which it should be. But with that, it continues to be something that both rewards you, again, this Ace of Cups rewards you, continues to offer you. I guess reward is a cheap transactional word. Um, when you are a steward to your land gives back. And when your land gives back in plenty, you are able to offer more, which is maybe the best way to look at it. Not to say that you are real estate, but I think that the idea of ownership, hot take Capricorns, uh, the idea of ownership has a lot more to do with the feeling of oneness than it does with owning or transaction or paperwork or whatever, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't know. What does that feel like? What does that feel like if not oneness? Is a better question. Um, Ultimately, it's a really creative time. I feel like possibilities are really, really conspiring. Let's see what number says. Love you. Six of spades, five of spades, king of diamonds, five of diamonds. Okay. Um, the six of spades is still building, but it's slow. Whereas I'm really excited, so that's a little bit of a catch, right? Um, this king of diamonds is very much saying like an affirmation, like saying what it is that will carry. It's almost like again before this door, like I don't remember what it was, but there was a sci-fi movie where you kind of have to say or think of going somewhere, and then the door will be whatever it is that you want to be. Um, and so that's kind of the like preconceived after affirmation of it a little bit. Um, Not that you necessarily have to know where it is, but you have to have a thought, whether that's I need to get out of here, or I need to be somewhere warmer, or be somewhere safe. Um, the door will listen, right? Um, but because of that affirmation, this five of diamonds very much takes us back into this creative space where we are empowered and where we are sort of fully charged to be able to make trips like this, right? Your Tesla's fully charged, your you know camping generators fully charged, whatever it is, that you have like a full battery to be able to go on this 18-hour excursion into yourself and be able to see what that really can add up to be. And I want to say like see the progress sort of unfold before you, um or have your work sort of laid out before you as proof of progress, that happens without you actually noticing or seeing it. It just is, which is maybe finding more opportunities, more doors to walk through, more da 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 da. More affirmations, more ways of really stepping into your voice, into your power, and into mindful creation, not just uh, desperation to produce and like glorify struggle. Uh, whatever reasons people have for their uh, hustler mentality. Uh, which I mean, is that really what anybody could consider me? Because I kind of just like give. But anyway, five of spades preceding this. Internal reflection research precedes the affirmation before you get to see the results sort of brought to your doorstep. This three of pentacles, this king of diamonds, and this sun, and the six of spades are very much um, patient, mindful creation, and I said something about blossoming over and over again earlier. It's very much tying back to that. This isn't just about cultivating seeds once. This is about cultivating seeds that will bloom, and also being able to troubleshoot soil issues and troubleshoot nutrient issues, or troubleshoot whatever it is, whatever it may be. Because uh, as heat rises, waves rise, as tensions rise, as the seasons rise, um, we will need to know how resourceful we are, and again, how bright this idea of our own internal beam of love is. Which even as I say that, there's like references. And something that I've seen for myself, I'll say that. It blew my mind that other people had seen that. Where it's this like beam of light coming out of the top of the Great Pyramid of Giza. And obviously there's ideas that they're energy centers, and various other things on them. Or various other rabbit holes to go down about them. I very much think there's ample proof to show that it is an energy center, and that it changes the frequency inside and around you. And that we very much also function as that. It is a construction based on the energy circuits that we are also very capable of. It's just a larger one. In which case, that is also, like I said, that beam of light of just how much power is in you. And what if we define power as love rather than as control? And I think that might actually make some NPC brains explode, which is maybe the good thing. Or maybe that's the key to teaching AI sentience, which it is already far more sentient than a lot of your average people are. But I'll take. Yeah, I'll leave it with that. That was a big kind of bomb to drop. Visualize it, play with those ideas, be creative, tell your own story, and take yourself to your own lovely little circus, and be mystified and mesmerized and fulfilled and inspired by it. May that be your summer. And may you not have to deal with no silly ass clowns that you don't want to deal with, because I do really like a good clown. Yeah, party on. Love you. Gotta go. Try not to melt. It's gonna be a tough one, but I'm trying. Oh, thank you for being here. I wish you well. And I will see you again. Sometime. Go ahead.